Welcome to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. We're business coaches and retreat hosts for bold, purpose-driven women who are ready to build businesses that actually fit their lives.
This podcast is for the authentic, rebellious entrepreneur who's done playing by everyone else's rules. We know what works because we've lived it, coached it, and savored the journey.
Join us for real talk on business, life, and everything in between. Welcome to this week's episode of the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. My name is Krystal, and I am here in person with
Wendy.
Whee!
Live. Yay.
It's very rare that we get the opportunity to be in the same room together recording
Yes.
because we live in different states.
Yes. But you hopped on a plane and
I
came
did.
to visit me.
I did.
Yes. And so today's episode, and we've been talking about this particular topic for some time now, but it is always fun when it's real life examples,
Yes.
real life feelings, real life experiences. And so today is I feel guilty leaving my family, so let's talk about it.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Yeah, so when you are a working mom, and in our cases, we run businesses, and it really doesn't matter how it comes up, whether it's an opportunity to leave just to get away for some fun, or in our case this weekend, it's a work conference or a work mastermind, or in our case this weekend, a little bit of both. We hear it from participants. I feel it. I feel guilty about leaving. And then I'm just honestly mad because my husband travels a lot for work and he seems to not get his panties in a bunch about it. So I really wonder, why do I? Which is a whole other thing to unpack, I'm sure. But it's hard. The fact of the matter is, it's just hard to leave. Okay? And
Sure.
I wish... And I do feel guilty about leaving. And then I'm mad at myself for feeling guilty about leaving. And then I'm mad that I'm and it just ends up being this crappy cycle of feelings.
Yes.
About leaving. But the fact of the matter is, it is hard.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no question. And I think it's especially hard for women.
Yeah.
Men, I think, have a better way of compartmentalizing their lives and can, to a large extent, check things at the door.
Okay.
Though I always find it particularly interesting, the level of gratitude and appreciation that hopefully will meet you at the door when you walk in on Sunday, with an understanding of the fact that I think even if women have a job outside of the home, and that says, not like we're working from home entrepreneurs, but if you go outside the door, you don't check your responsibilities. To a large extent, if your you have kids in school, who's going to get that call from the school if they need to be picked up? Or I think that usually, unless very specifically stated, it goes to mom. And who is the one that generally coordinates all the pickups and chauffeuring and all of that. So especially if you're leaving, it's really hard to just say, hey, I'll see you in a couple days.
It's true. Because I think, and we talk about this all the time, women hold up entire ecosystems, okay? We don't just run businesses. We are, if you have kids, then you're in charge of the management of the children, which is that is a full-time job unto itself, because you're managing, to your point, the school pickups, the extracurricular activities, the homework management, the getting up and getting ready for school if they're really little, and all of the things. I can't tell you how many times I've been out of town for things, and that's when I get a call from school to talk about things, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, I'm just not there.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the household management piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the one that does the grocery shopping, the laundry, the picking up, the cleaning of things? And then there is the business side of it, which is all of the moving parts that go on with our business. So then leaving doesn't just become leaving. Mm-hmm. There are logistics and pre-planning that have to come with that. Mm-hmm. And I know personally, it sometimes feels like self-indulgent to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
And I start to feel like I don't know if now's the right time, and should I be doing this? And then there's the expenses of leaving.
Of course.
And should I be spending the money on myself to go do that? Doesn't that feel indulgent?
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of ways that we can talk our way out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a fun little therapy session.
It is a fun little therapy session. And the struggle is real because I think even when I was planning to come here.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to work around my husband's work travel schedule.
Sure.
Which was its own set of nightmare. Mm-hmm. And then I had to do all of this pre-planning to prep him on like, where do you go pick the kids up because they're at new schools this year? Like, what does that process look like? What is the procedure? Here's the sign for your car. What do the kids have in their lunches? I'm getting ready to get on the plane, you guys. And I get a phone call from my husband. What does Lorelai put in her lunch and I was like, it's not really changed.
Right. And also she's standing there, so
he could have asked her, but it's equivalent to kids passing up dad on the couch to come ask mom a question.
Right.
And there's just all these things that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
And it is hard. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't even touch on the external judgment we feel from other people about making the decision to go. Mm-hmm. And when you're like me, that affects you in some ways.
Yeah.
And then I'm mad that it affects me. And we are back to the really ridiculous cycle that we were in about the leaving part.
Yeah. So let's unpack this a little bit. And let's start with, because I think the underlying emotion is guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt rolls into anger and frustration and all the others. But I think ultimately, and I think that guilt, here's where it comes from. And I think you've listed all the different pieces of it. Mm-hmm. There's a cultural narrative that says we're the default caregivers. Mm-hmm. Therefore, it falls on us to make sure that lunches are made, pickups happen, kids are, dressed and ready to go to school and all of that. It's our responsibility regardless of what really happens. And regardless of, and that's how society sees us.
Yeah. My mother-in-law asked me last time before I left for our mastermind. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just to Wendy and I are leading a mastermind of badass women entrepreneurs, and we're getting ready to go on this trip, and I'm all the prep and everything that we're getting ready to do that. My mother-in-law looks at me and goes, well, what is Brandon going to eat while you're gone?
Well, maybe he won't eat while I'm gone.
What the hell if I know? He's going to have to figure. I mean, I didn't even occur to. I go, but the other side of it is, no, my husband travels 1 week a month.
Yes.
Throughout the year.
Sure.
Okay. No one has ever asked, what am I going to eat while he's gone?
You're the mom.
I know.
Yes. Well, and so there's no question that there's a cultural and familial thing going on. And also, we internalize these expectations.
Yes.
You yourself said, if I step away, I'm being indulgent.
Yes.
And whether you want to use the word indulgent, which is such a nicer word than selfish, but nonetheless, it's still that feeling of, do I deserve to do this?
Yeah.
what? And it's so frustrating. And there is an entrepreneurial layer to this. Now, in our case, we're doing this is an internal retreat, an internal meeting where we're planning and projecting and all that great stuff and doing podcasts live.
This weekend in particular.
This is different, but in a lot of cases, there is a guilt. Should I be spending this time? Should I be spending this money? Should I be doing XYZ, PDQ? Even though it leads to the growth of our business. But there's always that feeling.
What's the ROI with
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, and I do love a good ROI. So I know. How do we justify this? Oh my gosh. So this is where the guilt comes from. So the next thing is, okay, we acknowledge there's guilt. And we also have to be able to read the signals. And I think that in some cases, and also talk about it. That's like the biggest thing is guilt and shame. What? We're looking at each other like, oh, we know exactly what we're going to say. In order to counter it, we have to talk about it.
Yeah. Shame can't live outside in the light.
Exactly.
Shame only lives in the dark. Hello, Mama Brene.
Exactly. So, and the feeling is, I think the underlying feeling of guilt is, I care so deeply. I can't fail. And I would fail as a mom. I would fail as a business. I'd fail as an entrepreneur. I'd fail as a wife. I'd fail. When it really has absolutely nothing to do with, you're not, feeling guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty. And whoa, is that gonna stop it? Am I saying it? Hell no. And
the
you're
equivalent
not
of my husband telling me to calm down.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I live in that same, you don't ever say that to me.
You can't speak it into fruition.
Yeah. And it doesn't take away from the fact that you care deeply. And it ties in with a lot of other things that we talk about, but it's, we're going to talk about that more. Yes, we're going to talk about that more.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I think. But, and also, this feeling, the signals are also, yes, it's highlighting your values. You pride yourself as being a mom. You pride yourself as being a wife. You pride yourself as being a chauffeur. Sorry. I'm still undergoing my PTSD from those moments. Like, what happens to the kids if they don't have you to drive them around? They can survive. They can survive. Or it falls to dad to do this sort of stuff. Anyway, and there are responsibilities, but just because you have to shift a responsibility isn't a bad thing.
No.
And having other people understand and try, because we always say you can't walk in someone else's shoes, but having someone at least attempt to really can open their eyes to the world you live in.
Yeah, funny enough, my dad is the one that always says that to me when I am leaving. He says, I think it's good for them to get a taste of what it is like when you're not around.
Yes.
And I try to reinforce that with other moms that we work with, because of course we run retreats and we hear this from people. It's hard to leave, and it is good for them to have the perspective of what life is like without you, so that they can appreciate you.
Yes, exactly.
And then it's also the reminder to myself and again to our clients, you do not have to be the end all be all for everything. And I do think it's true of anything in life. If it can't work without you, it's not working.
Yes,
whether that's your job, your
yes.
home.
Yes.
If it can't work without you, it's not working.
Sure.
And chances are you're the only one that has the perspective of that. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that mostly with work, you are replaceable. in a lot of different ways.
Oh, sure.
And so the reality of it is, if we're looking at the long-term planning of anything in your life, okay, it requires you to have the ability to step away. Otherwise, you're just leading into a burnout.
Oh, there's exactly. Absolutely no question. And I think that being able to step away, it's really important to, when you return, to look at boundaries and priorities.
Yeah.
And being away for even a short period of time offers the opportunity to see things in a different light and possibly change them. I think the first time my kids learned to do their own laundry, and they were kind of young, was when I was away on a business trip, and the au pair says, "We're going to teach you how to do laundry." And I recall that when I returned, the kids thought, "Oh, I don't have to do. You will go back to the normal." Oh, no. You've learned a skill, a life skill, and you're going to continue that life skill. And it was just a shift in boundaries and responsibilities. And I think that that's a really good opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that, expanding on that, it's a good opportunity for you to buy not just boundaries to your family, your kids or your husband, for them to take on more, but again, for you to realize that you can do less to open up more time for other things in your life that are important. And that's really important as well, again, for our mental health.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And otherwise.
Oh my gosh.
That, as women, and in today's environment, we're under so much pressure. Okay, there's pressure with our jobs. Okay, you have bills to pay in your business. You need to make money so that you can pay your own personal bills. We have maybe team members that work for us that are dependent on income. You have clients that are dependent on the services that you're providing. There is, the external pressures. There's the internal pressures in your business to hit goals, to do all your business operations, your marketing, your blah, 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 blah. And then you have the pressures at home, which we've already stated. The pressures from kids, from husbands, from other family members, if you're caretakers for older parents, or in my case, I've got a special needs child. There's extra pressure on top of that. There's pressure that people put on you in your community to volunteer. So I think a lot of us that work from home too are seen as not actually working, which is a whole other podcast, a whole other episode. But they ask of you. And some of us go into entrepreneurship because we want to volunteer at our kids' schools. Or volunteer for
flexibility.
We want the flexibility, and we're going to help out with the Girl Scouts. But again, that's pressure.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if we were to say we need a break from that, that we're being critical of the things in our lives. And the fact of the matter is, and I think we talked about this morning, not all pressure is bad.
Correct.
But you have to relieve it at some point or another.
Well, the valve has to come off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's an explosion.
Correct.
I mean, I think that's basic, some sort of science.
Physics.
Oh, see, yeah, okay. This poli-sci girl doesn't know that. But yeah, but that's exactly right. And it's interesting because one of the things that we have come to rely on is our savor method, and focusing on the pillars. And sometimes releasing that valve could be stepping out of your comfort zone, or in most cases it's unwinding with self-care and being open to connection and those sorts of things, and to some extent being grateful and celebrating and all that. When you come home, there will be a celebration of your return with lots of hugs and all that great stuff, and rolls into quality time together, which is perfect. And I think that it's making sure, and to go back to what you had said, the one thing I did not hear you say is what you need.
Right. And no, it's true, because I think we are hardwired, or at least I know I have been culturally hardwired. I don't want to speak for everybody, I guess, but I feel like I have been culturally hardwired to rate my worthiness based on what I can do and provide for other people.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that is a hard thing to rework.
Yes.
In your head.
Yes.
And so if you are a person whose self-worth is built on what you can provide for other people, doing something for yourself is like that much harder. And being able to leave and take time away, and it's the physical time, and again, it's the financial expenditures that go with that. That's where the indulgence and the selfishness, and again, that guilt comes in a lot of ways. And that's a programming that I think, one, takes acknowledgement.
Sure.
To overcome. And then two, being really intentional. And for me, it was intentional conversations with my husband of like, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And for him to look at me and cock his head to the side and go, well, that's ridiculous. You should just, you just need to go. Now you definitely need to go and get out of the house, because that's not how we feel. That's not what we feel about you at all.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting. So if I were to ask you, what's the cost of never giving yourself time? How would you answer?
Oh my gosh. Well, so we did a podcast episode recently on high functioning burnout.
Yes, we did.
And in the podcast episode, if you have not listened to it, you guys go back and listen to it. But if you haven't listened to it, we had talked about like 5 signals that you're burnt out. And I was holding up fingers like, oh, there's 1, 2, 3. And I held up like 4 out of 5, right? And the cost of, and truly this.
And I remember what you said as soon as we got off the podcast. You said, this getaway can't come fast enough.
Yeah, it is this time away, okay, out of my environment with one of my closest and best friends, with my, to work on things that light me up, that align with my passions and purposes, that are 100% just for me.
Right.
Serendipitous Rebel is, well, I mean, it's for you too, but it's
understand.
This is not a, I don't do this for
This isn't an Iker family moment.
It's not an Iker family moment. This is not something I do
Though
for
I
my
promised you, Brandon, we spent a lot of time talking about you guys.
Yeah.
Just in case you haven't to listen to this
there
episode.
You go.
Yes.
But this is not something I do for them.
Right.
It's something I do for me, because it lights my soul on fire.
Right.
Because I get tremendous amounts of joy from the mental exercise of working, from the personal achievement, and all of those things, right? So it's just for me.
Right.
And that's the cure to burnout. It's that joy in what I'm doing. It's not having to get up and answer to anybody. I did not have to get up and make breakfast and pack lunches.
Sure.
I'm on my time.
Yeah.
Not someone else's time. That's huge from just a mental decompression standpoint.
Yes. Absolutely. And it's making sure that our listeners and that we understand that this investment that we're making of time and money and whatever other resources will return. The return on investment is we return to our families clearer, calmer, more aligned. And that actually makes us happier people. And I think that I remember every time that I have left my family, I've come back with not only the burst of energy for work, but also for spending time, quality time with the family Because I do realize I miss them. I miss them. I want to spend time with them. And I think that that's reinforced, and doing it with a clearer mind and more clarity is, I think, such a beautiful thing.
Well, it just lends itself to just tremendous opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
In all areas of our life, right? But if we are continuously, if we're continuously in the grind,
yes,
okay, in the day-to-day grind, okay, I would rather take a little bit of guilt and some long-term relief in the short term, and some long-term relief in my business, in my personal life, in everything, over no guilt about leaving, but constantly staying in that grind, and it basically becomes this race to the bottom when I don't get out of those environments, because at the end of the day, you can be the best mom, the best wife, the best business owner, and still need a break. And
well, actually, the best moms, the best wives, the best
business
owners are the ones who actually take the breaks.
They take the break.
And they try to do it with the least amount of guilt on themselves, or the least amount of guilt inflicted on them.
Yeah, and that's, and I want to talk about that for just a second, because I have experienced that. I've experienced that really hard. My family has been incredibly judgmental about me taking time to travel.
That's
solo.
Outside, not your husband.
No, not my husband or my kids. I'm talking about like extended family, parents, siblings.
I'm raising my hand. I have a question before you even go any further. How many of those people are on your Square Squad?
None of them.
Not
a single one of them.
Do they have really any influence, role? Well,
and I really had to come to that conclusion.
Now that's not your father.
No, he's never. But he encourages it. In fact, he's going to come stay with my kids so that we can go. We had scheduling conflicts for the next mastermind retreat that we were going to go, and I was like, I don't know if we need to cancel this, or if I need to cancel and just have Wendy go. And he was like, absolutely not. Yeah. I will come and help. And so the people who are really there for you are going to figure out a way to support you through this. Exactly. And what I have found are the people that are critical of this, because I've had a lot of people who tell me, well, again, I have a special needs kid who has had 4 brain surgeries in the last 2 years. It's been incredibly hard. My time away has been the thing that has kept me afloat.
Yes.
Through all of that, 110%. And I've had people comment, well, I just didn't think it was that bad, because if it was really that bad, you never would have left. And to which I'm like, it was actually so much worse than I ever let on publicly.
Of course.
To a lot of, you knew, because you're behind the scenes in every aspect of my life. But I was really struggling. I've really struggled a lot the last couple of years. And when they told me that, it really felt like a gut punch.
Sure.
But I think because I don't martyr myself publicly, I don't talk about things, people didn't realize how bad it actually was. And so it really, what I heard in it was a little bit of, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are, and all of that. And I had to do a lot of my own mental gymnastics to get over that in my head. And I'm sharing this story not to like shame my family. Again, they don't really matter, you guys, I promise. But
this is what happens.
But I don't think it's just me.
No. And it happens on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being, before Craig and I got married, and I was a single mom. My parents, whenever I had to travel, well, I had au pairs, but there were boundaries in terms of their work, hours and all that stuff. And my parents would come up from Florida, and there was never any, I remember being told that I had to go to I had to staff a conference in Australia. And it was like the week before. And my boss says to me, call your parents. And they're like, oh, when do you want us? We'll just change our doctor's appointments. So having people who are your allies is unbelievably important. And the only thing I can say about the tertiary people in the world, the family members, is if they don't contribute to the success of you, your family, if they do, and your family, if they don't bring you joy, then all I wanted to do when you were just telling that story is stick my hand in their face and said, talk to the hand, not to me, stop.
Yeah. And it is really like putting up the boundaries. To your point about the square squad too, is it's getting really clear in your own mind.
Yes.
Of like whose opinion matters.
Yes.
Whose does not.
Yes.
And so, it would be one of those things that if you were to tell me, I don't know, Krystal, if that's like a good idea for you to leave right now, I would actually like go, I wonder if that's true. But if, not everybody in the cheap seats of your life gets to have an opinion about what is good for you and what is not. It really comes down to, your immediate family, like whoever's going to be affected by your decision to leave, to make those decisions.
Right.
I love what you just said about if they are invested in the success of you, we're going to figure out a way to support it.
Exactly.
And if they don't, what are the other external factors that are making it hard? Like, I can't just leave whenever because, I have a husband who travels a lot for work. And somehow the Army does not care about my personal schedule.
Well, but I think the beauty is, and I think this falls for most entrepreneurs, and especially those who fall under coaching and planning events, is you take into consideration time. We book things far enough out that if there needs to be scheduling, if things need to be scheduled, there's time to do it. Yeah. Most of the time, the week before, and you're going to Australia, does not happen. I mean, though people can make decisions at the last minute, but it's really making sure that you have the ability, especially in the long term, to control your calendar. Most of us put our vacations on our calendar far in advance. And the thing also is to start thinking about what do you need to better yourself, your business, whatever. Get that scheduled. I can tell you, like, I was really sad when our vacation in this past June ended. Now, the fact that we had a retreat scheduled in October on the books allowed me to take I'm so sad, and it lasted my usual 36 hours. That's what I allowed myself, and I'm done. And now I'm like, ooh, I get to look forward to something. And there's a whole like psychological rationale for why we need to look forward to things. That also falls into place here as well as you're going through what can potentially be like a daily grind. And that can be business as well as family, but there's a daily grind. Having something to look forward to and on the books is really, I think, important. And it's also, you're not showing your family, or in this case, and your parents as well. Oh, I need to do this at the last minute. Correct. This is being planned out because that says, I respect everybody on this particular square squad, and I respect you enough to, not that I'm saying I'm not doing this, but enough to say, let's figure out how this works. How does this juggle?
Well, and most women I know in our position are so intentional about so many areas of your life. Exactly. You really need to be intentional about this too. Yep. And we encourage people to not let I also want to say, I feel guilt. I wish I could say, don't feel guilty. It's a human emotion. I wish I could tell people you shouldn't feel guilty. Well, you shouldn't feel that way.
Oh God, I hate that word, should.
Yeah, you and me both. But, I wish I could tell people you shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't feel that way. Oh God, I hate that word, should. Yeah, you and me both. But, you know, I also want to say, I wish I could say, don't feel guilty. I wish I could tell people you shouldn't feel that way. You and me both. But what I want to say instead is do it anyway. Feel guilty, but do it anyway, because it's so important to take the time away. Your family and your business deserve the version of you that is decompressed, that's fully resourced, that can come back with that clarity. Your family deserves the version of you that got a full night's sleep without getting woken up by kids. That was so magical last night, by the way.
Oh, good.
Your family deserves the version of you that got to let loose and let her hair down and laugh and maybe... And I'm thinking about the last time I went out of town prior to this was to a conference in Portland, and I met up with another group of entrepreneurs, and we ended up riding scooters around downtown Seattle, just like laughing and giggling all night. And what I think is so fun about all of that was that it was a moment where I got to laugh super hard and be silly and slightly irresponsible, I'll admit it. But
that's okay.
Because I was just part of myself. And when I think about our retreats, we get a lot of work done on our retreats. And there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of laptop time and a lot of reports and things like that. There was also karaoke.
Right, exactly. And dancing
and really good food.
Exactly.
And champagne with the painting.
Yeah.
And there was champagne in the hot tub. And there's tacos, out of the port. And all of the other really good, feel good, fun things that fill up us on a soul level.
Well, and
we need.
The interesting thing also is, I definitely want to make sure that we share some hacks, because I think that also alleviates guilt. But that when you create these memories, they stay with you, and they actually help you to move on. And when you talk about the rat race and we talk about just the grind, what gets you through those moments in time are you look back at the memories you've had. And I think that we don't do that enough. I definitely think we don't do that enough.
Right.
And I think it's really, really important for our own well-being. Yes. And now all of a sudden my head is full of all of these memories, which now we talk about hacks. Because I do think that, and I think it's important that we share, it's like, okay, what can we do, or what can you do to prep? And especially if you have a longer window, hey, what can you do? And in some cases, like I remember, it's probably been a couple of years, but you used to stock the freezer with food for the family.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Okay. But in some cases, you can do that. You can prep when you're making, the meatballs, make a double portion.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Right.
It's just, I think if that's going to be something that's going to alleviate some guilt,
or
make you feel
knock
better
yourself
about
out.
leaving, you should go.
Yeah.
Can I give an alternative hack to that?
Yeah.
Don't care what they're going to eat when they're gone. If your kids eat quesadillas 5 days in a row, it's okay. They're not going to die.
Is that what they do?
Sometimes. My husband. So the joke in my house is my husband could burn water.
Okay.
He cannot cook.
Okay.
And I used to freak out that my kids were not going to eat nutritious while I was gone.
Right.
Or they weren't going to get balanced meals. And at the end of the day, there are 365 days out of the year, you guys. And if for 5 of them, they eat cheese quesadillas every day in a row, or peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Okay. Yeah.
It will be okay. Yeah. And actually, I had a therapist tell me that once. And what a freeing option, too, of like, oh, they could eat out every single day or order takeout. And that's a choice.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Well, and it's also a bonding experience with whoever they're spending time with. So, I think that's
problem solving. I think my husband freaked out because we left for the first time, just the two of us. We went on vacation last year, and I think my dad got our McDonald's like 3 days or something, and Brandon freaked out, and I was like, who cares? We didn't have to be responsible for it. That was a gift.
Well, and wait, were they okay when you got home?
They were alive.
Yeah.
They were happy. They were maybe like slightly less healthy, but I think they're still healthy kids overall.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, if someone else is willing to take that off your plate,
Yeah.
the control hack, the hack is here, let go of the need to control
Yeah.
the situation,
Right. Yeah.
and let somebody else be in charge,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna starve.
Oh no. Kids will. Well, you're leaving your children with people who you trust
Correct.
and know are responsible, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Now, I remember didn't your brother, the chef, stay with the kids? Hasn't he stayed?
He's not stayed with the kids.
He's been there when.
He likes to come visit when I'm there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he cooks for them.
And he
All
cooks
right.
for
So
them.
that's
And
yeah.
so he's
yeah.
they're very
You
well.
need to maybe have him come when you're gone, because then the kids will be eating gourmet meals
They'll eat
so well.
bougie,
yeah.
bougie mac and cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. And the bottom line is it's prepping, and it's being really clear on communication.
Yeah.
And just making sure things are scheduled if they need to be. And if you don't want to do that, just realize that you can go and they're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I kind of have to go back to, Brene Brown, and she says, what does done look like? And so as a leader and as a CEO, I think it's really important to do this if you're going to leave. Okay. And we all, I think at this point in the podcast, can agree we're all on the team. You should leave. Okay. But I think to leave with any sort of comfort level, you have to really ask, what does done look like, and be able to communicate all of that effectively, not just at home, but also to your team, to every other aspect of your business that you're actually going to walk away from and leave. Because if you can't articulate that, I think so many of us leave and things fall through the cracks and they go crazy. And then I think it really comes down to a failure in communication on your part, usually, as the CEO of your business. So it's not just a matter of saying, like, you need to pick up the kids, or you need to make dinner if that's a priority for you when you leave. Like I just said, I don't think that should always be the priority. Or you need to make sure these emails go out next week, but also, like, the emails need to go out. Here is the deadline. Here's a subject line. Like, I think there has to be this semblance of, like, really almost over explaining yourself sometimes. Kind of help.
I think that's, I think that's super important. I put well, based on my actually my work history, I do Google Docs. I do run of shows, literally. Here's a run of show while I'm gone. And I don't think that there's oversharing or over information, because you never know when it comes up. So I think that's like a really, really super important point to share. Yes.
Yeah. And I think you get to decide when enough is enough, right? Like, when, there are things that aren't going to be executed. I'm not even going to say executed perfectly, because I think they're going to be executed just fine. It just might not be executed the way you would have executed it.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
That's okay. I mean, that's more than okay.
But if there is something that you feel very strongly about executing in a very particular way, that is up to that's your responsibility to communicate it.
Yeah.
Appropriately.
So I think that's an absolutely perfect tie into a few really important points that we just want to make sure that we don't miss. And I think the first one is making sure that we have clearly defined what exactly is this mom guilt. And I'm going to say it's a tug of war, which I truly believe. In my heart, it's a tug of war between us as caregivers, and because we're who everyone relies on. and the internal voice that keeps saying, if I do something for me, I'm letting someone else down. And it's so hard, yet I think it's so important that we name it, we acknowledge it, and we recognize that this is actually a pretty normal thing. That knocking us out of our normal cycle is not normal.
Well, and also, I guess I just want to add to that because I
Mhm.
do think it is an internal choice. I think it's that internal struggle, and you are feeling like it's a choice between letting yourself down and letting other people down. And I guess the only thing I'd want to add to that is flexing that, being okay with flexing that muscle of letting other people down sometimes. And that's
Okay.
so hard. But I think that don't let your self-worth get wrapped up into this idea that I have to be there for everybody else at the expense of myself.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That it's also, this is probably a whole other podcast. The whole concept of expectations of ourselves, of others upon
Mhm.
us, and where do you draw that line? And because that's what we're saying is that those who love us have such high expectations that we're always there to do for them. And that's a tough one. But anyway, that's probably, like I said, for another podcast.
Yeah. So,
Um,
and then so probably the other thing that we want to look at is that speaking of everybody needing us, you can hear the pinging of the phone of everybody that needs you at any given time. But just to remind yourself too that time away is not indulgent. It's not in frivolous. It's an investment.
mhm,
And I think that a lot of us, when we're looking at time away, we're looking for an ROI to
mhm,
justify it in a weird way. So that's why we're like, we'll take time away for like business stuff or conference things or things like
mhm,
that, but not always for ourselves. And really want to fight against that because when I take the time away, like I was able to do with you, and really take the time to rest and not have somebody need of me
mhm,
so much, I'm going to come back to my family more energized, more clear,
mhm.
refreshed. And it's really hard to get that in any other way.
Yeah, it's that old distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Hmm.
And I think there's a really valid point to what you get out of missing people, the everything from the order that you've put together, the systems you've put together. And I think it actually brings to light possible changes that you may need to make or could make, but also just that whole, I miss you so much. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of distance to reinforce that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, and I think that this is one of the reasons why we really lean into savor,
Yeah.
um, because it's, stepping out of your comfort zone fits into even when it feels uncomfortable to leave, we go.
Yeah. Boy, I
Um,
had felt that in my soul.
yeah, yeah. And in this particular instance, aligning with your passions and interests and values and purpose. Because sometimes as moms, I think we can feel like we're a to-do list.
Yeah.
And we really are and need to make sure that we're leaning into the fact that we're more than that. We are a lot more than that. That in a lot of ways has absolutely nothing to do with our mom and our wife and our household manager cap, and that we venture under our own power because we trust ourselves to go and that we know we can grow, we know we can evolve and do whatever it is that we're looking to do, and it's okay. Yeah, we're open to connection because that's the kind of the whole point of a lot of this. We're not necessarily going solo. We're hanging out with other women, with colleagues, and even if we did do solo, it's a matter of being with ourselves, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah. And then unwinding with self-care, guilt-free away time, it matters. It really does.
Well, and the rest matters. It's the mental rest.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're holding up entire ecosystems. Our brains are firing at any given minute. It is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. We were talking this morning, and it is like
So lovely.
it's such a graphic image, right? But if you don't have if you don't take the opportunity to slow that down, oh my gosh, it really takes you down fast.
And the next thing you know, you're
ritualizing gratitude and celebration.
Yes. And honoring both leaving and making sure you're also excited about the return and celebrating it. Yeah.
So we would love to ask you, when was the last time that you gave yourself real time away? I mean, real time away that wasn't like jam-packed with to-do list. And what would it look like if you actually planned something for yourself now? And then if you're worried about it, other people's opinions or judgment on that, whose opinion really counts?
Ooh, that's good.
I know.
And remembering your square squad is really small and little.
Just a little post-it note. Post-it note. So, the mom guilt may never like fully go away. Okay. But you can feel it and still go anyway. Okay. Sit in that tension of both because your family, your business, and you deserve the version of you that comes back refreshed and resourced and ready to go. And that's not selfish. That's just leadership. And that's what we're all about. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am super happy to be enjoying the rest of my time away here with Wendy.
Yay! Oh, that was really loud. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining us.
All right, until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about our upcoming masterminding opportunities on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.
Hey, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.